Yeah. Every time. Coming at you guys live and direct. Making sure that's working. No lag. People are saying they want to start. I'm seeing people in the chat, which is good. I'm going to reload it on my phone here because I want to be able to see what you are all saying live. Still waiting. And it looks like we're on. All right. So, what's going on, everybody? Hope you had a fabulous week so far. Good weekend. Excuse it. We're starting on Monday instead of your usual Sunday time, but this is Beyond the Beats Swiss Beatbox podcast coming at you once again live and direct right here on Swissbeatbox. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, I see a lot of people are jumping on this. So, Ish, we're going to get this thing going off. Ish? Yeah.
Ish.
Ish?
Ish.
Ish?
Ish.
Ish?
Ish.
Ish?
Ish.
Ish?
Ish.
Ish?
Ish.
Ish? All right. So once again, this is episode 50, by the way. We're almost at the year-long mark. I'm glad for everybody that's been sitting in here and watching. So once again, thank you for everybody that's been jumping in here. If you have questions throughout, put them in the chat. And the big homie Ilya Heidfeld, who's running the stream, big ups to him. He'll be going through and selecting some of the best questions. But yeah, let's get into it. So today on episode 50, Beyond the Beats, we have someone I've been excited to go and actually have on because I've been seeing a lot of new work coming out from her. And yeah, got to go and meet her a few times, not only in States, but Canada. She came up to Canada, over in GBB and all sorts of stuff. So there's stuff to talk about. But episode 50, Beyond the Beats, we have Denise Nalaboski. I'm trying to make sure I don't butcher your name there.
You got it.
Repping Acapellas, the Mazel Tones, Unit 17, Rather Be Giraffes, Euphonic, currently Vice Acappella, and Nice Cats. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for D. Nice.
Woo-hoo, wow. You did all your research, didn't you?
Beyond the Beats, we got to find out these things, you know? So, yeah, first and foremost, hello, welcome to the show, and how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. Honored to be here.
Yeah, people are excited to have you on. I'm excited to have you on, and we're already having a bunch of people putting questions and stuff, so we'll get to those.
Amazing.
Yeah, and currently, where are you in the world?
I am in New York City. This is a fake background, but I am in New York City. Happy to be here.
Absolutely, and we're happy to have you on the show. So again, I know we don't have too much time today, so I'll get right to it, and time's an important thing. Let's make the most of it and get into the show. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in, and episode 50, Beyond the Beats with D Nice, coming at you. And every time, thank you for MB14 making that. I love that. That's just a solid intro track. Makes me happy every time I hear it. So one quote I always try to start off with quotes, but the future beatbox is female. Solid way to start off. And to go and ask you just right off the top, I can see that you have such a large musical background. And before getting into the beatbox scene, being able to play multiple instruments, being a vocalist, having all this training, from violin to piano to guitar, singing, like I said, getting into vocal percussion. How much has that helped you before we start talking about where you started? How much has that helped you to have that musical background once you're starting to step into the beatbox scene, getting into competitions, and having that knowledge musically and applying it to beatboxing?
Totally. I think it's helped a ton. It's helped me with composing different routines. I think that's been like the main influence my musical background has had, is crafting routines that build and develop, incorporate musical elements to it. Yeah, and also like melodies and stuff as well. Outside of just doing covers, I think that knowing music theory, like specifically, has helped me come up with cool melodies and chord progressions to integrate into different beatbox routines. I think it's helped a lot, and also being in the audience listening to different beatboxers do their routines, I can analyze it more from not only a beatboxer's perspective, but a musician's perspective as well, and kind of see how they craft it and how their mind works in creating great routines.
And you can, again, if I'm missing something, tell me if I'm missing something, because I could see that you had violin, you have piano, you play guitar, and you sing. But are there other instruments that you do aside from beatboxing as well that I missed?
Yeah, so I play the ukulele, I play a little bit of drums, and I also learned a little bit of the saxophone as well. I think that's my favorite. That's my favorite instrument. It always has been. I'm obsessed with the sound of the saxophone, which is why I try to. I'm not Tom Thumb in the slightest, but I try to I try to do like trumpet saxophone sounds sometimes, instead of my beats, and especially in my more casual videos online.
Yeah, and
Um,
you've been putting out a lot of them, by the way, recently. Super dope.
Thank you so much.
And again, though, from what I can see, I see that when you started before beatboxing, before actually getting into the beatboxing, because that wasn't until relatively recently, but you were very much into the musical theater, and you were doing all sorts of shows throughout high school and university and stuff, and getting like that idea of working with a cast and having a part where you sing. Um, does that help you as well when you're thinking about doing like the presentation, the pageantry behind doing a show for somebody, having that musical theater background as you I can see in some of the shows that you've done?
Yeah, well, you've really done research. You dig back. I haven't done theater in a bit, but yeah, I was active in the theater scene in high school and a little bit in college. Um, I actually had massive, massive stage fright. Massive stage fright. I couldn't even sing in front of my own parents. Um, and I started doing theater in 8th grade. Was so scared, but I like knew I loved music. I wanted to perform. It just terrified me. And I finally made the jump in 8th grade, and I had like a little solo in the musical at my school, and that kind of started all off. And then I joined an a cappella group in high school, the acapellas, as you had mentioned, and that kind of forced me to just like be in the spotlight and be on stage like all the time with my group. We were doing a lot of performances mainly through our school, like at assemblies and different school functions, but also outside of that as well. We did some competitions as well, and I was just kind of forced to quickly get over my stage fright. And by the time I entered the beatbox scene, I had no issue jumping right on stage. Did I think I was a great beatboxer at the time? No, but I feel like I got a lot of support from the beatboxers that I met really early on. Like I met the beatbox house like right when I started, and they were super supportive of me. I met Kayla super early on. She was super supportive of me, and it just kind of encouraged me to like hop on stage right at the beginning, even though I knew I was nowhere near where they were. Um, and yeah, so like my first event was Smash Sounds in New York City in 2018, and I hopped on stage and did an limb. Like by the time I was beatboxing and entered this scene, I had already gotten used to being on stage, and like figured out how to present myself on stage. Still like playing with it for sure. Um, for example, like getting to a drop in a routine, like kind of figuring out like how to make it more dramatic via the way that I present myself on stage. But I just like got used to being in front of a crowd for so many years that by the time I went into beatboxing, I was like, okay, like I know what I'm doing here. I have to focus on the music and the routines, but I know what I'm doing once I'm on stage. So yeah.
Absolutely. So, do you ever think about like, because I've seen too, Kayla was doing the freestyle show in on Broadway, I believe, and Chesney Snow was doing stuff. I believe it was called In Transit, if I'm not mistaken. But there's other people that have bridged that gap into the theater world, bringing beatbox elements into it. Have you ever thought about, um, somehow getting involved and bringing back that side of yourself and trying to get into something along that lines of production?
So I actually did see both of those shows. Both were awesome. Thought they were so cool. Kayla actually brought me backstage, so it was really, really cool. Um, I would not consider myself an actress. I mainly did theater, one because I was never good at sports and wanted to find that like family. Um, so I did theater. It was really fun. I loved performing. I loved the people, and I had my a cappella family. But I'm definitely more of a musician. Again, I would not call myself an actress or at least a good actress. So I kind of did theater primarily for performing and for singing. I was usually cast either as background choir, or the lead that I got senior year was in Legally Blonde. It was a role that was very vocally heavy, because that was just my biggest strength in the theater world was, oh, this is the girl that can belt. This is the girl that can sing. Um, So I kind of did it for the musical, mainly for the musical elements of theater. So I haven't really considered it. If someone from like a casting agent from Broadway like hit me up, like I love hopping on opportunities. Like I think everything happens for a reason, and like if something comes my way and my gut reaction is this feels good, like I'm going to go for it. So if someone reached out to me and was like, "Hey, you beatbox, we want to incorporate that into a theater production," and I have the time for it, like I'll do it. Definitely not something I'm looking for though, because I feel like I've mainly left my acting days in high school.
Well, that's fair enough. I just, again, I thought it was interesting to see how people have been able to connect the two of them. And if you've
No,
already had
definitely.
experience in there, and as you said, maybe the right, if someone's watching and you have a production coming up. um, and again, I start seeing too that with the acapella world specifically, and I'll ask you another question later on about it, but I can see that you go to acapella camps and you've been working in that scene. So when do you start hearing that term vocal percussionist come up and start figuring out some beatboxing? Like when do you first hear beatboxing in your lifetime that you actually like, not just seeing it as, just kind of like a when do you make that connection being like, okay, it's something I can do, or I have to learn it for this production, or I have to learn this for this a cappella group? When did you start hearing beatboxing and or vocal percussion?
So yeah, I had never heard beatboxing in my life because I didn't really grow up listening to hip hop and like rap and stuff. So I wasn't really exposed to beatboxing until a cappella in high school. So I joined an a cappella group when I was 14, 15, and we started having rehearsals. And I heard some girls going like, and I was like, what is that? That is so cool. And I mean, I feel like that's one of the biggest differences between a choir and an a cappella group is just having a beatboxer there, right? Imitating instruments rather than you got a bunch of singers and a piano in the background. So I heard that, and I've always been fascinated by the drums. In school, I was always like fidgeting and like tapping my pencil on the table, making beats, like, you know what I mean? I was just always like, I always loved rhythms and tapping and rhythms and drums. So when I heard this for the first time, I was like, what is that? That is so cool. Instantly fascinated by it, started learning. And it wasn't until I learned about the competitive scene that I was like, oh, like I can take this to the next level. I use it as, it functioned as like a background part in an a cappella group. So I was like, this is like a fun thing. It's not a solo, but like I still have like my moments, and like it's fun. I'm making beats. It like, it varies things up, because some songs I would be singing, some songs I'd be beatboxing. It would keep things fun in like performances and stuff with my a cappella groups. But yeah, it really wasn't until I learned about the competitive scene. I can't believe I was hit in the dark for so long. Like I wish I knew about this scene much earlier on. But again, everything happens for a reason. So I got to grow with my a cappella group and then enter the competitive scene, and it's just kind of been exponential from there. I never knew I could do this much with beatboxing.
And when you were on that podcast with Kayla Verver and MC Beats, you had said that like your first interaction with a beatboxer, quote unquote, was going to Boston and meeting up with Hershey, and you're just like, hey, I love beatbox, I love what you're doing, and then you get invited to the Boston Beatbox group, which leads you to go and get that opportunity to think, okay, Smash Sounds is happening, and I'll jump on stage. Now, again, in that interview, the way that you said it, you said you felt you were like still somewhat nervous about getting on the stage a little bit. That you were just like, okay, I'll do it. I'll just jump on, do an elimination, and see what happens. But how was that initial response, not to have a group around you and just a microphone and beatboxing for the first time in a competition setting?
Definitely scary, but it was something new. And not gonna lie, I mean, I do love the spotlight. As much as I think I work well in a group, and I'm happy to be like, in the ensemble in a show and like a background part in a cappella group. I also just as much love having a solo, being on stage by myself. It's definitely scarier though. I remember when I performed in my a cappella group in high school for the first time. I've been in a bunch of a cappella groups. My first one was the Acapellas, And I remember we went on stage for the first time, and I thought it was going to be scarier than it actually was because I had a solo. And I realized it was less scary because I had a bunch of other people just as nervous backing me up, right? If I messed up like a riff or something in my solo, you had like 15 other girls singing that was going to like compensate for my wrong note or something. Whereas beatboxing or singing on stage by yourself, everyone is looking at you, all they can hear is you, so definitely scarier. But I was like, it's now or never. Like everyone, like I said, everyone was just so supportive, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And like everyone in the Boston beatbox crew was like, no, like do it, why not, we're all gonna do it. Like, you know, like what's the risk here? And I was like embarrassing myself. They were like, they know you're a beginner, like they're just gonna encourage you to get better, and that's exactly what happened.
And again, that was around 2018. You said was the first time in the competition. So from that open elimination, you get into. Actually, wait, sorry. I want to ask you one more question about the acapella scene, because you're still doing a ton of stuff with acapella scene. You're working with Vice Acappella, and you guys have been putting out some dope stuff. And I can see that. What was the song you just put out a song a little while ago? I got notes here. I try to go and make sure I do a thorough research so that everybody can go and hear.
We posted today. We actually posted. We did a Taylor Swift reel that we posted on Instagram and TikTok today. We're pumping stuff out all the time.
Yeah, and again, people go and follow. What is it, at Vice Acappella?
Vice Acappella, VICE Acappella,
and
with two P's and two L's.
And it's a group of you and 4 other ladies, and it was what was it? I'm trying to find the song here. I've tried to find the song.
Rhiannon or Hey There Delilah. Those are the 2 we put on Spotify so far.
I think it was Delilah that I saw that you had on. Again, super dope mix, and it's cool. I like to see that throughout your throughout the acapella versions that you've done. Whether there was one that you were doing an open elimination type thing with a group, and you were singing a solo, and then later on in the video, as you said, you were standing back and beatboxing. It was an outdoor event, and it was with the Rather Be Giraffes group, and you had that kind of back and forth.
That was so long ago. That was in college. Yeah. In that group, they kind of encouraged everyone to try beatboxing, which was cool. So I had my songs where I would beatbox, and then I also had my songs where I could solo. So I got to have like solo moments there, or featured moments there, but kind of showcasing both of those things.
And I just thought it was cool to watch the video and being like, I was expecting to see you beatboxing, and then you're sitting there hitting the solo at the front. I'm like, oh, what else is beatboxing? And then the next video thing that came up was like, okay, second part or whatever. I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, now she's beatboxing. And in between you and the guy who was beatboxing of that group, you could just tell that kind of, I feel like a lot of people in the acapella world just hold the microphone as you would if you were singing and don't cup it. So you could just see the difference between that gentleman's confidence and your confidence is grabbing the mic, and actually hitting it. So it was pretty cool to see. And another thing I've been noticing just in the acapella scene in general, I know that in Canada, we got my boy Vino out on the West Coast, and you've also won one of these awards for outstanding vocal percussionist in a group, but he's been winning those in Canada. And I can see that there's more beatboxers that work with acapella groups that are high level of beatboxing, and not just being a vocal percussionist, but actually bringing in elements of technicalities, being able to go and throw lip rolls in there, being able to throw these things in there. So do you see, because I'm not that knowledgeable, but do you see a shift happening in the acapella world when it comes to the beatbox element?
Yeah, 100%. Maybe I'm just more aware of it because I'm in both these scenes. But yeah, I mean, I know a lot of beatboxers in our competitive beatbox scene that are either in acapella groups or just got into acapella groups. And I'm noticing that the level is just getting so much higher. Because I remember when I started and I got better at beatboxing, I was like, oh wow, like I'm at a higher level than a lot of these vocal percussionists that are just kind of not necessarily wanting to be the vocal percussionist, but like they're kind of assigned it because they're better than other people and they need someone to take that role in the acapella group. And now I'm realizing now I'm noticing, oh wow, like there are some like quality beatboxers that are like in these groups and are functioning as the sole beatboxer. I, like you said, like when I was in Rather Be Giraffes in college, I was kind of swapping back and forth between singing background, singing solo, and beatboxing. And for the past couple years, I have solely functioned as the beatboxer of the group. So the Rolling Tones in the UK, I was the beatboxer. Vice Acappella, I am the beatboxer, even though there are a couple songs where I sing. And I'm glad I get to do that. But yeah, in more recent times, I'm like the functioning beatboxer. And I'm noticing these like quality groups having a quality beatboxer now. So the level's getting much higher. I actually didn't, the competition this year was a couple days ago. I actually didn't get the Beatbox Award this year. I got it in 2019. I didn't get it again this year because literally all of the beatboxers in our region were so good. And I was shocked. Like, I thought I was going to get it because I was incorporating lip rolls and, like, click rolls and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, like, I'm going to get it. Like, I'm using all this technical stuff. And then all the beatboxers were so good. They were so good. And none of them are, like, in our scene, or maybe they're watching right now. You guys are great. But, like, I don't know any of them from competitions, but they were all so good. So it's just really cool. I think Swissbeatbox, I feel like everyone that beatboxes, even if they're not competing, like, knows what Swissbeatbox is and follows Swissbeatbox, which is awesome. But I feel like everyone's just getting better over time and just getting more interested in it because it's such a fun thing to do. And, like, I feel like beatboxing, it's kind of irresistible. Like, you want to practice. You're constantly practicing. It's not like you're sitting down blocking off time to, like, practice your violin for 2 hours. Like, I am beatboxing all the time. I'm constantly practicing without intending on practicing. And I feel like that's just happening to everybody, especially with the pandemic and having so much free time and so much time to just think and be with yourself. It's like, okay, well, I'm just going to sit here and make music with my mouth. Like, okay, it gets better.
I'm very excited to go and see the next competitions when things open. Like, I can't wait to see this year's GBB World League.
I'll be there. It's gonna be insane.
It's gonna be bananas though. People have been putting in time in the lab, to say the least. And one more question about the acapella world, because again, when I had Spider Horse on, and obviously I saw Chris and Jean winning that huge competition and taking home a massive check and representing just as two people on stage, bringing beatboxing elements, but also having the vocal instrumentation essentially into their showcase. And I don't know, it's just interesting again because I don't know enough about the actual acapella scene. Do you see that, in your opinion, would you say that it's for groups to get to that next level and really be successful, groups are going to need to have beatboxers at a high level to be a part of their group to go and actually have that success? Or do you feel is there a tension that comes in if there's like a standard quote unquote vocal a cappella group that doesn't have a very high class beatboxer necessarily, or just has someone just doing the background rhythms? Is there like I don't know, I just something I was thinking about after watching it, being like, I feel like there could be a riff where people are like, well, that's not what we used to do type thing. You know, like I feel like there'd be a little bit of a brushing of that happening.
I mean, I think everyone's impressed by like really good beatboxers. I don't think there's anyone that's angry that it's not like the way it used to be. I think having a sloppy, out of time beatboxer in your group will hurt your group. But I think as long as you have someone that like has a clean BTK, like can stay in time, I don't think that group is at a disadvantage for not having a super technical beatboxer that's bringing in lip rolls. But I mean, there's so much other stuff, especially to like acapella competitions. There's like the vocal percussion award, but what judges are really looking for is like stage presence and dynamics and the arrangement, and like timbre and like blending. And there's so much more than just, oh, do you have a good beatboxer or do you not? You know, because the beatboxer is one of like many people in the group. So they're not going to judge a group based on if they have a good beatboxer or not. It's just important to not have a sloppy one that would hurt your sound. But I mean, I don't think Chris and Jean won because they're incredible beatboxers. I think they won because they had such a unique set. They brought something so unique and so different to the table. And the competition, the Open, which is the Varsity Vocals pro group competition, non-high school and college competition. They're specifically looking for unique, creative, innovative sets. So Spider Horse is like, well, here you go. This is still a cappella, but it's nothing like you've ever seen before. And they won. And I knew they were going to win. Like,
I was very happy to see that. I like seeing my friends pick up big checks and put them in the air. Makes me happy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you think that there's a future for adding more than one vocal percussionist in a cappella groups? Like, do you think there's going to be, I don't even know if there are anything out there, but do you see there being a group, quote unquote, somewhat of a standard group with whether it's a 5-piece, 7-piece, but do you think that there's going to be spaces where there might be, you know, a tag team of beatboxers joining an a cappella group and making something unique that way?
Yeah, so because I'm a beatboxer and I love beatboxing, I have tried to incorporate that in like kind of like all the acapella groups I've been in. In Euphonic, we competed in the Opens in 2018. And on, I think, one or two of the songs, we had two beatboxers. And then in Rather Be Giraffe, there were some songs where I doubled up with other beatboxers in the group, or people that wanted to try beatboxing. I wouldn't call them beatboxers. People that wanted to add elements of beatboxing, because that was a bigger group. And then Vice, for those who are watching after this, go check out Vice Acappella on YouTube. We just dropped our competition set on Friday. And in the last song, I co-arranged that with Nikki Brenner, and I made a whole beatbox section where 4 of us are beatboxing at the same time. So I'm doing a click roll, lip roll pattern. I got someone on like kick drums, someone doing a hi-hat pattern, someone doing like wind sounds, and then we like switch it up. I have someone doing like the clicks. So we like kind of create this like ambiance in the middle of our set, in the middle of our arrangement, by just incorporating all these different beatbox elements from different people at the same time. Now, this is not, oh, we have 4 beatboxers and 1 singers in this group. It's just the way we arrange it is like, oh, this specific song, this specific section, we're all beatboxing. And because that's important to me, and because 4 out of 5 of us are like can beatbox, and the other one I'm teaching, like we can be the next beatbox house, but like all girls, like, you know, I don't know what you call that. Not the female beatbox house, but the beatbox group, the beatbox something. We could call ourselves something. But that's honestly been like a dream of mine, is having just like a bunch of girls that I can beatbox with. And honestly, when I had that song, Get It Like, on American Beatbox, with Kayla, Verver, and Heirloom Beats, afterwards I was like, should we be like a crew and go to Worlds? Like, this is amazing. And that was pretty much freestyled. We talked about it 5 minutes before we did that. And it just like worked. It just worked. So I would love to like have a bunch of beatboxers at the same time beatboxing. I think that'd be really, really cool. But especially female beatboxers. I think that would be amazing representation, especially at Worlds.
I would definitely like to be present to see that, because again, I've seen tag teams made up of just 2 girls going together and smashing it up, and I saw like it's dope. So one day this will happen, and maybe you should go and push that, because I'd like to go and see what you guys would create.
I mean, yeah, I'm in Nice Cats already. I don't think that's changing, but yeah, if I could make an all girls crew, that would be sick. Just gotta get everyone in New York City, and then we can rehearse and make it happen.
Well, I think Kayla just moved to Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. So
I know. I'll fly her back here.
You're getting on this plane. We are going to practice.
We're going to practice. We're going to Worlds.
And bringing up that you're in Nice Cats. When did that start happening? Because from 2018, getting the kind of beatbox introduction to the beatbox scene, do Smash Sounds, and you're already signed up for the American Champs at that point, and like just to see it, when did you decide to go make that team, and what was that intro happening?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I went to Camp Acapella for 3 summers, and I met Logan Katz that first summer that I went. We knew each other for years, and on that 3rd year, I mentioned that I had just met Boston Beatbox crew and that I was going to go to Smash Sounds, et cetera, et cetera. And he was like, at camp, he was like, what if we like did a tag team thing? I was like, what's a tag team? And what are the American Beatbox champs? And he I think had been following Swissbeatbox longer than I had, so he kind of knew about everything. And I was like, maybe, like I don't know, like I'm not good enough, like I don't know. And then I did Smash Sounds, and he was like, oh my god, tell me all about it, because he wasn't in New York. So that was amazing. I met everyone. He was super jealous. And then I performed at the Opens with Euphonic, and he came actually from Acapella camp to support us. And after the performance, we were like walking to Times Square with like all of our friends from Acapella camp and my group, and my sister was there. And he was like, okay, so like, let's do this. Like, let's, you did Smash Sounds. The next event is like in New York is like American Beatbox Champs. Let's try it. Let's do it. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Sure. I didn't really know what that meant. Didn't know that was going to be a long-term commitment. I was just open to it. And yeah, and then we started rehearsing. He was at American University at the time, and I'm from Maryland. So I was in Maryland several times that summer. So I ended up going and meeting up with him at American University, and we filmed our Genie in the Bottle wild card in his dorm room. And we made that up in like 10 minutes. And it just worked because he's also musical. He's also a singer. He went to acapella camp with me. He's in the acapella world. So he also has a musical background. So we just like clicked, and it happened. Didn't know where that was going to go. Didn't know we were going to get in. And then I think it was probably him that convinced me to also submit a solo wild card. And that year I did not advance to top 32. Yeah. But I like put out a wild card, and that was kind of my introduction to the beatbox scene as well. Outside of Smash Sounds, like my online presence, like I posted that wild card video, and everyone was like, who's this girl? And that's kind of how I started getting my followers rolling out, and getting the attention in the American beatbox scene as a new female beatboxer. And yeah, and then Logan and I, like, we didn't advance in American Beatbox Champs that year, but we were on stage, and people just like loved our sound, and loved that we were like brought musicality to the stage, which I think that year a lot of tag teams were lacking. Like they were super technical and super awesome, but like we kind of had this unique twist to it where we were singing our Genie in the Bottle. We had some Daft Punk routine as well, and people just liked it. And we were like, let's continue this. And then I'm losing track of time nowadays with COVID, but I think the next year was when because next year was 2019, so that was November 2018. 2019, that's when we went to Great North and competed in Great North.
Yeah, and you went up against Taheen.
Yeah, and that was super fun. And then we were making routines. I think we were making routines up, like fully virtually, which was so much harder. Our strategy there was we would discuss what we're doing, and then we'd write it down like ourselves and take notes, and then we'd each mute ourselves, like take turns muting ourselves because of like its lags, and we weren't on Discord at the time. So we would, like, let's say I would mute myself, and then I would hear him, and then I'd beatbox along to him, and then we'd like switch, and we'd practice that way. Like, so hard, so much longer than it needed to be, but we pumped out some good routines, and that's those are the ones that you had been hearing before the pandemic. Yeah.
And then 2019 as well, you guys get into the American Champs, and you end up taking 4th place.
Yeah.
Getting into the small final, and again, it's dope. Is that something that, obviously, the way the world is, we'll see when competitions come back in North America specifically, but is that something that's going to continue, and you guys are going to be striving for that number 1 spot, trying to go and win the American Champs, or what?
Oh yeah. That's the plan. I don't know how we're gonna meet up to practice because he's in Miami now, like full time. Goes to school down there, family moved down there. So he's no longer up here with me, and practicing, like trying to create sets that will win American champs virtually is so hard. But the good thing is we both have been doing a bunch of leveling up during the pandemic. He's learned a bunch of cool sounds. I've learned a bunch of cool sounds. I got much better at mic technique and working on power a lot, and I think and tech. And those were my three weaknesses: was mic technique, power, and tech. And he's just learned some awesome bass stuff. So we haven't tried to make a routine recently, but once we have like an event that's like gonna happen and that we both know we're gonna go to and like commit to. So like I don't know if American Beatbox Champs are happening this year, but like if the next event that we would actually compete at is like Great North 2022, for example, we'd be like, okay, like when do we need to start making routines? Is it feasible for us to like meet up? You know, either him come to New York, I go to Florida. You know, get some sunshine down there. I would love to actually do that. That sounds really nice. Then we'll make it happen. But no, we definitely have our eyes on the prize. If not 2022, then 2023. Who knows? Depends on how long I'm in the scene for. Hopefully, many years. But
Hey,
yeah.
Hope to see that as well. And I can say that if the Dreamers can do it, because you know Ping Pong Po lives down in Hawaii, so it's they're doing their stuff virtually. You know, you guys
I
reach that.
honestly, I want to chat with them at some point. Once Logan and I like start actually trying to make routines virtually again, I kind of want to talk to Dreamers and be like, how do you guys do it? Like, how do you guys make amazing routines virtually? I feel like there's just like our heads together in person are so good. It's just really hard to communicate ideas when we can't beatbox at the same time and hear each other at the same time, you know?
Yes, I could imagine that making it quite difficult instead of just being in that moment being like, oh, okay, and just jamming and stuff. So again, maybe they'll give you some good pointers. Solo wise, your first battle that I can see is Long Island battle, top 16 versus American champ J Flow, and you get to go and battle right off the top at a high level, and then you go back again, Long Island battle, you battle match. You did a 7 to Smoke when you went to Grand Beatbox Battle 2019. You came second, but that was also just the Beatbox House Fantasy Battle. You did a tag team where you came second. But I wanted to wonder what are your goals solo wise in the beatbox? Because I also saw that you had put in through your unfortunately the event didn't happen, but you put out a loop station video for Great North. And what solo wise are you? What would be things that you'd want to compete in, whether it be GBB Worlds? So, is there anything that you're gunning for as a solo artist?
Yeah. Well, I got 7th in the 7 to Smoke seeding round for the female 7 to Smoke at Swissbeatbox camp. Yep. And I was really excited for that. And I don't know how if they're ever gonna do that at some point and kind of keep the rankings there. But I was really excited for that. My goal right now is top 4 in Worlds. That's my goal. I guess ultimately like female world champ. That would be dope. But I think like near future goal is like once I know Worlds is happening, once I know I'm going, like train. And yeah, my goal would be top 4. And I have faith that I can do it. I just need to put the work in. I've been putting the work in learning new sounds and mastering new sounds. I just will soon need to start putting in the work to make really, really good routines. And I need to scrap like all my other routines because I've just leveled up so much. And like I need to either level up the routines I already have or just scrap them all and make all new routines with all new sounds. I think I also beatbox different than I used to. Like my like go-to sounds are different. You know, my PF has changed like over the past year. Like my inward K has gotten cleaner over the past year. Like I learned lip rolls during COVID, you know? I learned click rolls during COVID. I learned sub bass during COVID. And like I want to put that all to use. So that's my goal. I have had mixed feelings about social media over the pandemic. When I started off, that's like all I did all day was like made content for my D-Nice Instagram and TikTok. Yeah, and I got a bunch of followers on both platforms because I was just putting in so much work, and also my second Swissbeatbox shout out video, the Loop Station one, came out, and that helped. And then TikTok, you just never know. I'm glad to see a lot of beatboxers on there now. I think I was one of the earlier beatboxers, not like early, but like earlier than a lot of other beatboxers on that platform. So some of my earliest videos like kind of blew up and got me to where I am now on that platform. But I kind of lost energy towards it over time. Started focusing on jobs that made me money during the pandemic, and I'm outside of being an artist. I'm also trying to be a music executive, so focusing on like working for labels and stuff, and that's really where my energy has been going lately. And yeah, beatboxing and putting out videos has been more of a side hobby, but I'm hoping that after the pandemic, I want to get back on stage. I want to perform. I want to make money performing. Not as a full-time thing. I don't think I have it in me to go solo artist career, mainly because of the potential instability of income there. And I don't want to be anxious about money. That is not something I want for myself. But I do love performing. My acapella group is also in discussion of what we're going to do and if we're going to go pro. And that seems kind of likely to. I need to figure out how that's going to fit into my beatbox plans and my music business plans. But I want to perform. I want to make money. I love being on stage, and I missed it. I did an open mic recently, and I performed for a crowd live for the first time in so long, and I forgot. It was such a good feeling. I forgot how amazing being on stage is, and just feeling the energy in the room. Like, I was beatboxing, and people were twerking. I kid you not. People were twerking to my beatbox, right? I can't do that on a virtual competition. I can't do that posting a video online. I can't watch people's reactions to it. Yes. You know, people can't dance along, and it's such a different feeling. So I'm really, really, really excited to hopefully land solo gigs, land live gigs with my acapella group, and just for our community to get back on its feet live again. And just I wanna go to every competition that I can. Seriously.
As the want to perform and the need to perform is something felt by most people that do that, and it's definitely been a hard time so far, but I'm happy that you got to do it open mic. That sounds dope. And real quick too, I see in the chat we have Sparks and Penchinkata. They both say, and I'll call you back, Sparks. But anyways, hello to you guys that are watching there. I wanted to go and ask too, music-wise, I see that you put out I believe it was called Trapped, and by your artist name, Gianna as the last name.
Gianna is my middle name. Yeah.
Gianna, yes. So you put that out under that, and written by Jared Glue and Mark, or produced by Mark Sokolson.
Yeah.
Trying to get these names correct sometimes, but as an artist outside of the beatbox world and just musically, because I can hear that you were singing in it, you had your beatboxing involved in it, but it really showcased your voice, which is super dope. Are you going to be making more music? Is that something that you're going to be working towards, whether it be an album, EP, something?
I actually, when I got involved in that project, I had no idea we were putting it on Spotify, to be completely honest. Jared is my friend from high school theater, actually. We did theater together. He was in an a cappella group, not mine, but another a cappella group in high school, and we've stayed in touch, and we're still friends. I was texting him today. He's awesome. But he was like, I wrote the song, my friend's producing it, we want you to like feature on it. So yeah, they gave me the lyrics, they gave me the melody, they gave me the backing track, recorded the vocals, I made up like the harmonies and stuff, I added some beatbox layers, and they produced it, and they were like, we're gonna put it online, like what's your artist name? We're gonna make you a Spotify page. And I was like, I did not expect that, but I was like, okay. So that was honestly very unplanned for. Putting stuff on Spotify has not been an immediate goal of mine, and not something that I felt like I needed to do, but I will at some point. But I don't think it would be going in the, I don't think it would be going in the singing direction, but I also don't think it would be fully beatboxing. I don't think I'd be putting out a beatbox EP like Napalm or something. I think if I did put out an EP, it would be like, I don't know, like maybe like instrumental tracks where it's like I'm playing all my instruments and beatboxing and maybe singing a little bit, but I'm not really a lyricist, so I don't really know how that would come into play. But I think it would be me kind of doing everything. Singing, beatboxing, playing instruments, and fuse it all together into one track. I don't know if I'd come up with that via the loop station or just record each instrument separately, but I think I want it to be fully me, you know? I wouldn't want to like, hire friends to play instruments that I can play. I really wouldn't really want to use like instruments and Logic. Like I think if I can play the instrument, like I'd want it to just be me and just be like everything that you're listening to is me. And I also learned how to produce during the pandemic. So I would probably want to try producing it myself, or at least mixing it myself, get someone to master it. But that's like my idea of where I'd want that to go if I went that route. If I went the like, okay, I want to put music on Spotify route. I don't really see myself putting out a beatbox EP, but I also, Denise Gianna is like, the reason I wanted Denise Gianna, not D Nice, is because I knew that if I was going to put music out, it wouldn't just be beatboxing, because there's more to me than just beatboxing. And I wanted something that encapsulated everything that I can do. And I felt like putting D Nice on it it's not all of me, you know? So that's that. So we'll see where that goes. I can't say like look out for an EP in the near future, because that's like one of the last things on my mind. But it's definitely something that I would be interested in trying in the future, especially if I'm trying to like book solo shows at some point or something. Yeah, the focus for performing has mainly been with my acapella group though. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. You have your hand in a lot of pots trying to figure out how to go make them all work. And you could. I was thinking something like watching Gene's progression and watching him the way because he's also a musician and putting all his different beats into it, but adding in, here's him playing guitar, adding in all these different elements, and seeing his live performance would be something. Again, with your skill level of the instruments and music theory, possibilities are endless. So something for you to explore and for us to enjoy.
No, he's so awesome. I love what he does. Yeah, so something like that for sure.
Okay. I know that we're somewhat of a timeline, so I want to make sure I get through all this stuff. But okay, we've talked about solo beatbox, we've talked about tag team, talked about the acapella world, and I want to go and get into another part of the show. All right, so this part of the show is called Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire. All right, so rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you questions in a rapid way, and I want you to answer in not thinking about them too much. It's the first thing that comes to your mind. I want you to give the answer, all right?
Yep.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, episode 50, we're going to be playing Rapid Fire with D Nice. So, Rapid Fire. First question. Who is your current favorite solo beatboxer?
Hiss.
Who is your current favorite tag team?
Spider Horse.
Who is your current favorite loop station artist?
So.
Who is your current favorite crew?
Terry Wom.
What is your current favorite sound? Who is your favorite a cappella group?
Nor'easters.
What was your favorite role you've played in any play?
Oh, Vivian and Legally Blonde.
What is your favorite play of all time?
Matilda.
Favorite food?
Sushi.
If you're taking someone to somewhere cool in New York, where's the first place you show them?
The view from my room.
All right. Well, it looks beautiful in the background, as you can see. Last but not least, who do you think is going to win the Grand Beatbox Battle 2021 World League? If you have to give any just guess.
OM.
Rapid fire. That was rapid fire questions. Excellent. Next up, we're going to be going to get some questions from
My friend Papuni.
My friend Papuni
has a few questions for you, okay?
Okay, awesome.
So he understands, and this is something that I saw him write down, so I didn't bother going and asking you these questions because I left it to him because I, want to make sure that he gets his opportunity. But
My friend Papuni
wants to know, where do you see your potential going for more work in terms of management in the music world? Specifically, do you see yourself ever trying to bridge the gap and be a manager of beatbox artists?
So I manage Villain now. We haven't announced it, but I guess it's an announcement. Yeah. 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 This like
Okay.
this like just happened. Yeah. but
Exclusive.
He hit me up and he was like, I want us to work together. Like, I want you to be my manager. And I was like, okay. So that's a thing now. Yeah, I'm hopefully gonna get him to festivals and get him out there. And I'm very excited for the potential there.
All right.
Yeah.
And would that be something that you would expand on possibly in the future, depending on how it goes?
I mean, I've told Gene that I wanted to work with him forever, so I will probably figure something out there too. But yes, I mean, I want to start my own label or management company that has a diverse roster, but within that I want to sign or manage, depending on the kind of company, beatboxers and acapella groups as well as like EDM acts and pop acts and stuff like that. But I want to combine everything I'm passionate about into one. So definitely, yeah, that's definitely on the top of my list. And yeah, I'm excited to work with Villain and combine my love of beatboxing, my knowledge of the beatbox world with management of, mainstream acts. So
Very, very cool. Following up with that questions,
My friend Papuni
wants to go and say, in your opinion, with your background, where do you think you see beatboxers in general needing the most help when it comes to promoting themselves?
Ooh. I feel like, at least on social media, we're kind of limited to just the beatbox world, right? So like, I feel like the majority of my followers on Instagram are beatboxers or people that like follow Swissbeatbox and found me. And I think to get to the next level, to get like venues to want to book you, to get festivals to want to book you, you have to prove to them that the mainstream music world and music fans will also enjoy your set and enjoy your content outside of the beatbox world. So I think just like, I don't know, like, I guess as far as specifics, like using not just beatbox hashtags to get your content pushed to non-beatboxers, just so you have a diverse following. And on Spotify too, like I said, I'm not posting stuff on Spotify, but for those who are, making sure it's not just beatboxers who are listening to your stuff, trying to get your music on Spotify playlists, non-beatbox Spotify playlists. Like, like I could have totally heard Napalm's like Roll Like This on like an EDM, like an EDM playlist on Spotify, where you're listening to like Excision and then you're listening to Napalm. And I think that's how you're going to get not only fans outside of just beatboxing, but get gigs outside of just beatbox gigs, get attention outside of just our beatbox world. And I feel like that's the next step for a lot of beatboxers, what I'm trying to do with Villain as well.
All right, that's very well thought out and said answer.
My friend Papuni.
My friend Papuni.
Possible questions for you.
My friend Papuni.
He wants to know, which platforms do you think currently that are out there? So social media platforms, let's say, which ones do you think beatboxers should check out if there's anyone's new on the horizon, in your opinion, or not being utilized enough by the beatbox scene?
I think every single beatboxer should be on TikTok. I hate TikTok, but I also love TikTok. I hate the algorithm a lot because the algorithm tends to screw me over, which is why I've had like mixed feelings about making content for TikTok. And I'm also not like Spencer X. Like I'm not gonna post like kid friend, like, well, not kid friendly, but I'm not gonna post like cheesy game content. You know, if I'm gonna post on TikTok, it's gonna be me beatboxing. You know, or just making music. But I think that to go off my last question, I found that my TikTok followers are very different, a very, very different demographic than my Instagram followers. Instagram, I feel like, is beatboxers from all over the world. I've got 87% men following me, or boys. I've got Indonesia and India and Malaysia and Brazil, and it's awesome. And Chile, I love it. Completely different on TikTok. I've got, I think, majority women on TikTok, and I've got like Great Britain and France and the Netherlands and some random other countries. Just like, it's a different demographic, and I feel like on TikTok I have so many followers that have never seen beatboxing in their life, and they see me and they're like, well, I'm a girl and this is like a cool thing that a girl can do, I'm going to follow her, versus a guy from India being like, I saw her on Swissbeatbox, I'll follow her, you know? And I think if you are trying to push your beatbox brand to the mainstream music community, like, TikTok is just a platform that will randomly, I hate the algorithm, but randomly push your content to people that have never seen beatboxing in their life. And I think coming out of the pandemic, like, so many more people know what beatboxing is because of TikTok. Because some beatboxers, like my friend Ballistics, for example, who blew up on TikTok, like, beatboxers have just blown up on TikTok, and like, I think people just know what it is now, which is really, really cool because it just pushes your content to non-beatboxers. And I love that. I feel like going out of the pandemic, more people in the world know what this, this niche art form is. And I'm hoping that through the process of me posting on TikTok and Instagram, but mainly through TikTok, where people are seeing my videos that have never seen a girl beatbox, let alone a beatboxer in their life, I'm hoping that I have inspired people to start beatboxing, or just kind of expanded their mind on what beatboxing is, what girls can do, etc.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, that's one thing that I'm not on yet, so maybe I will have to go and actually open up a hand computer and look at the old TikTok there. Anyways, another question from
my friend Papuni.
He wants to know. Okay. These are kind of, I'll put these two questions together. What is one beatboxer you would like to do a set/song with, and what is one artist in the world you'd like to work with? So give me a non-beatbox artist you'd like to work with, and a beatbox artist you'd like to work with on a project of some sort.
I'd want to work with Codfish, and I'd want to work with Troy Boy.
Okay.
I've done some Troy Boy beatbox routines, and I met him, and he thought it was really cool, and I wish he like asked for my contact info, and I made that happen. But hopefully we'll cross paths again and do something. But I love the way he thinks musically. Like I love his ideas. I love his creativity in his tracks, and like I get a lot of inspiration from his music, and that's why I create a lot of covers based on his music. Yeah.
So Troy Boy, if you're listening, holla.
or Codfish, hit me up. Yeah.
Scan it. Well, actually, I'll follow up with that. Who's your sorry. Rapid fire. Name your dream tag team. If you could have anybody as your tag team partner at GPP, who would it be? Outside of your current tag team.
Oh no. Gene. Like.
All right. No. Rapid fire. Sorry about that. Just one more that came in. Like,
we would just make some music, you know? Like, me and Gene would just make music, and that would be dope.
That would be. And Gene lives in New York.
I know, but he's taken and I'm taken, so.
Well, maybe there'll be a cross thing that happens.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Nice cat, spider horse. All right, let's see.
Spider horse.
All right. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Nice spider, cat, horses. Anyways, let's go to it. One more question from
My friend Papuni. My friend Papuni.
He wants to know. Well, this is something that you've already answered. So he just wanted to say he usually does this, but he says, because you already said you're going to be coming to Grand Beatbox Battle 2021 World League. So he was going to ask if you were going to be coming to it. He would love to see you come, and he would love to see you do a wild card for a category if you have it in you and you have the want to do it. But he says also it would be so nice for you to come to the biggest beatbox party ever in history that we're going to be throwing. And he does not think it could happen without you, and he looks forward to seeing you when you get there.
My friend Papuni.
Want you to know that.
Aw, amazing. I will be there. I'm very excited. Just trying to figure out flight and housing accommodations, hopefully with some fellow New York beatboxers right now. So, yeah, I'm so excited.
Yes, he's the pony loves everybody. Everybody's friend.
Yes, and would love to do another Swissbeatbox shout out. Maybe live this time.
Let's go. Not recorded and sent in, but actually be able to do it through his camera so we can actually have it.
Awesome. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Well, you're up to 2. Might as well make it 3, and let's see the next one that happens coming at you live and direct.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was questions from Paponi. Now we have questions from our audience. So people that have been tuned in watching this entire time, we're going to get 2 questions from the audience. So let me go and see. And people have been asking too. They really want to hear you beatbox before we end this off. And again, I know we are on somewhat of a time crunch, so I'm making sure that respect your time. And MC Zany, a man like Zany's in the chat. What up, Zany? These are questions from the audience picked by Heidefield, the big homie Heidefield, who's been running the stream. Big ups to him every time. So someone wanted to say, well, we've kind of been in this a little bit, but actually I'll let you answer whatever way you think this deems fit. Someone says, D-Nice, how are you so good at singing and beatboxing at the same time? Scott, read this, please. So I just read that. So they want to know essentially, how did you get your musical chops together when it comes to singing? How when did you start singing? A little bit background, just singing wise.
Started singing as early as I can remember. Was scared to sing in front of my family and live, but I was always singing, humming, attempting to sing. But I didn't really take it seriously until a cappella, and then I started seeing a classical voice teacher in high school. And then I actually studied classical voice in college. That was my major. So I learned classical voice, and I'm not singing opera and beatboxing at the same time, but it definitely taught me a lot of different vocal techniques. A sound that I can't do is like double voice, for example, as much as I've tried, because I was trained for so many years to not have that drastic switch between chest voice and head voice. So I really mastered like finding my mix and going from chest to mix to head. That like I literally can't do double voice. Like I can't get that drastic switch anymore. Like that thing, I like can't do that strong enough to make it into a sound. But at the same time, I learned techniques that definitely helped me with beatboxing, that helped me with breath flow in my routines. As far as singing and beatboxing, I don't think anyone specifically taught me how to do both. It just, I guess, kind of made sense. A lot of those routines where it's like a song, like for example, like Beatboxer's a Woman, that routine that I do, that I made up while walking down the street. I didn't have my headphones. I wanted to listen to God is a Woman. I didn't have my headphones with me. So I was humming it, but then I wanted to hear the beat. So I was like, without even thinking too hard, trying to beatbox over it. And I was like putting in the beats, like in the gaps, putting them over some words, like trying to figure out the structure of it. And then I was like, wait, God is a woman, beatboxer is a woman. Oh my God. That was my Swissbeatbox shout out. That just kind of came to me. But I guess, yeah, as far as singing and beatboxing, I mean, I teach lessons. So if anyone wants to like really get into it and make routines with me, slide in my DMs. But yeah, it's just, I feel like you pick a song, you pick a beat that you want, and you figure out what sounds and structure make sense, and help the song flow instead of slowing down the song by trying to fit in a bunch, like spam it with sounds. You know what I mean? Like trying to figure out a balance between, okay, I want to sing here and hum here. I want to beatbox here. Oh, let me use like some like pitched beatbox bass sound or something, and just like kind of flow it all in, to make the song cohesive and add to it instead of like ruining it by just spamming it. You know, there's a lot of technicalities to discuss there, but yeah, it just takes playing around with.
Absolutely. A question for the audience to you, and I see that the screens have been going a little bit in and out. I was very small at one point, very big at another point, just on the live stream. So sometimes these things happen. But I wanted to go and say who else is here. We have Frosty Beatbox says hello. What up? And also a question from Pension Kata. She wants to know how many hours a day do you practice currently?
At least 1 hour a day, but it's not like I'm sitting down to practice. It's like I'm doing work and I'm beatboxing. I'm in the shower. I'm constantly beatboxing in the shower. I'm walking to the subway. I'm beatboxing. Like I am always beatboxing. So I would say an hour a day, just because I think about how much time I spend in the shower. And when I am beatboxing, I lose track of time. So like a 40-minute shower, walk into the subway, doing some work and mindlessly beatboxing. But when I'm actually like preparing for something, or I'm like practicing a certain routine to like go make a video for my Instagram, like then I'm sitting there practicing. But like I am beatboxing. There's not a day that goes by where I'm not beatboxing.
Very well said. Someone wants to know. That question say there. Okay, there you go. You kind of already answered this as well, but someone wants to know what championship out of any championship do you personally most want to win?
Worlds. Yes.
And Pension Kata with a follow-up question saying, do you think this works? Your style of practicing, does it work for you? Do you see an improvement, or do you think that maybe sitting down and having that concentrated, like I agree with you that a lot of ways that people beatbox, you just beatbox all the time and always is there, so you're practicing, but a concentrated version of that where you're like, no, today I'm working on this thing with a metronome going, and setting aside, I'm practicing for 1 hour doing that and having more structure to it. Do you think that the two of those, would you see a difference if you tried it the other way? Or have you tried it the other way, where you would go and try to quote unquote force yourself to go and have that structure to it?
Yeah, when I was doing competitions, I was sitting down and practicing. I was sitting down and I was like, how do I make this into a routine? Logan and I would sit down for hours trying to do our virtual routines, and then we would like be like, okay, we're going to talk in 3 days before then, like let's make sure we practice and like memorize like your part for the tag team routine, and then we'll like meet up and we'll practice virtually. So when I'm competing actively, I am sitting down and I'm making routines. I'm sitting down and practicing. But I think, and like, yeah, when beginning of the pandemic, when I like first got the lip roll and like first got the click roll, I was sitting there spending time like doing it over and over again, and like trying to play with it and play with power and play with tongue placement to like get it right. But that just came over time, you know, like muscle memory. But I honestly think nowadays, because there's no real like pressure for me to like be making content or be making routines right now, it's just kind of a hobby until like live stuff picks up again. I've been actually like leveling up just by doing it mindlessly. Like for example, like a couple days ago I was like beatboxing mindlessly and doing inward K's, and then I was just playing with it like without even thinking, and I came up with this instead of like I was like, oh, I can like play with the wind after I make the sound. And I like didn't even realize that, and that's like a new sound unlocked by like mindlessly like beatboxing. I wasn't sitting there like, let me do the inward K over and over until I come up with something new. You know, sometimes it just happens. So yeah, I do sit down and practice when I need to, but it's just kind of doing it mindlessly when I feel like it is still helped me level up over the past year.
Yeah, it's if everyone has their own way, whatever way works for you. I feel personally is the way that you should attempt it, because also people have the same thing when you can say, I need to go and see these things structured out on a whiteboard or blackboard for me to go and actually learn something, rather than, oh, if you just show me with your hands, that sides of the brain. So again, it feeds into it. I have there's more questions here that I'd love to go and actually get, because there's more questions coming in. But I know that you have stuff to do because you're a busy person. You have things you need to do. With there still being some time left, those are questions from the audience. I was wondering, before we jump out of here, do you have time to go and drop some beatboxing for us?
Yes, definitely.
Thing. So,
definitely.
ladies and gentlemen, episode 50, Beyond the Beats with D Nice. You already know what to do if you're sitting at home. I say the 3, y'all say the 2 and the 1. Let's get it in 3.
No. 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 Girls got the power. Girls got the power.
Slapping it up. Girls got the power. Crushing.
Girls got the power.
Ish. No.
Ish.
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 All right. Ish.
Ish.
Ish. Seriously, I know, again, I don't want to go and cut into your time because you have stuff to do and you got other things to go and do, but I just want to say thank you for coming on. 2 things before we jump out of here. I wanted to go and say, you have merch that you have out on your site. People can go and get your merch. If you have people want to go and have lessons by you, and you can go and do vocal training or beatbox lessons, both available. So if you want to go and support, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you go on to the Instagram, go on to the TikTok, go on to the Facebook, YouTube, subscribe to her, as well as checking out Vice Acappella. They just put out new stuff today, as well as more content coming soon. There's a very world is your oyster, and I can't wait to see where you go with it. And I'm excited to go and see what you're going to do for Villain as well. That was just announced as well today. So I'm all hyped up and excited, and I just wanted to say thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun. And thank you for everyone watching.
Yeah.
Ish.
Ish. Ish.
Ish.
Ish.
Ish.
Ish. Ah! Okay. Straight up, once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning on in. We are here with D Nice. She has music coming out. You can get merch to go and support her. You can go and get yourself some lessons. If you want to do some collaborations with her, send her a message. She's said she's open for these ideas. Troy Boy and Codfish, if y'all listening, same with you. You guys go and hit her up as well. Make some music happen. I'm excited to go and see you in battles. Excited to go and see you getting into more acapella competitions as well with Vice Acappella. And overall, you have a very fruitful career coming up, I do believe, not only in the beatbox world, but outside of it in the music world. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and congratulations for how far you've gone so far with it.
Thank you so much. Excited to see you at GBV.
Hey. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anything else you want to say before you jump off here? All right. With that being said, Tune in again next week. We'll be back. We're on episode 50. We're almost at a year of this on Beyond the Beats. Thank you very much for everybody. Keep on supporting Swissbeatbox. Keep on practicing your beatbox. Keep your swords sharp, and call your friends, family, and all that good stuff. Tell them you love them, and make sure that you check in on people during these hard times. And aside from that, go watch the beatbox videos right after you're done here. Go to Vice Acappella. Go check out the new videos. And yeah, beatbox, Swissbeatbox. Coming at you live and direct. Scott Jackson saying thank you for tuning on in. And that's time in 3. Ish. Time.